This UCL recap episode is presented by Football Manager 2026. Football Manager 26 has launched across platforms. Purchase now to define your managerial destiny. Hello and welcome back to The Give and Go. I'm your coach Reynoso here with my boy
Soltero. What's up, y'all?
It's the UCL recap. Subscribe to the channel. We cover each and every match that happens in the UEFA Champions League this entire season. And today we had a crazy slate of games. It's a bad day to be a La Liga fan. It's a good day to be an Estêvão fan.
Yes, sir.
If you're a Marseille fan, it's a great day.
Yeah.
We had some crazy results all over the table, but I do think the one place that we have to start at is with Chelsea going off on Barcelona.
Going absolutely off. We knew this was going to be match of the day, and I think you could feel that 5 minutes into this match. Nothing beats frantic, offensive, aggressive, technical football, and that's what we got in these opening 10 minutes here in Stamford Bridge. Both teams just immediately on the front foot attacking each other. Enzo Fernandez getting a goal that was ultimately called because of a handball. Ferran Torres, man, had a wide open opportunity to get an early goal for Barcelona on the road here. Pulls it wide, and that would end up being a very costly miss, because from that point on, Barcelona did get a lot of the ball and were able to attack, but Chelsea looked like the more dangerous team when they would go forward, just testing those wide areas of Barcelona a lot more, getting behind their back line a little bit more frequently, and then finally the goal came for Chelsea. A backflip from Pedro Neto catches in between the heels of Ferran Torres, and it's Koundé who ends up bobbling the ball into the back of his own net. Chelsea go up 1-0 around the 25th minute.
Thing is, man, if VAR didn't exist, they could have been up 3-4-0. Like, people are quick to criticize VAR, and VAR was clutch in this game, but I don't want to think about this game without VAR, because the amount of goals that were taken away from Chelsea due to close calls, Chelsea was just so dominant, bro.
Yeah.
So dominant. And I just felt going into this match that Barca was destined to lose this game, because they've shown all season against competent offenses, they just can't handle that pressure.
Yeah.
And I was questionable about, can Barca get a goal on Chelsea? That's what I was interested in, because Chelsea at times can leave gaps open, can have a questionable center back pairing. And Ferran Torres missing the opportunity kind of just showed to me that their shooting boots might not be on today. Chelsea's going to have a party here. No Pedri either. But you can say the same thing for Chelsea. No Cole Palmer in this game. I mean, both teams missing top 5, top 10 players in the world. Chelsea deserved it, bro. They deserved it, because after that first goal, it was just an onslaught. It was a party that I think ultimately was highlighted with Estêvão's goal, man.
Yeah.
That goal chills, man. Chills, as he's had an incredible start to his Chelsea tenure. As Lamine Yamal is the wonder kid on the other side of the pitch, it's Estêvão who stands out as the best teenager in this match with a beautiful, beautiful golazo. He's actually living up to his potential and low-key surpassing it based off of how much they paid for him.
Golazo from Estêvão. He's becoming a fan favorite at Stamford Bridge. Hasn't really been starting a lot under Maresca, but he's definitely getting minutes. Every time he comes off the bench, you can see he adds just a different style, that Brazilian flair. And in this game, off the start, Estêvão was just cooking, man. He was cooking, turning players inside out. The way he turned Cubarsí completely, and then was able to shrug off Balde off the pressure, blast it past Garcia. And I love how Estêvão, in those tight angles, he goes for pure power and pure height, and it works, man. It's a really good technique to employ in those situations. Golazo from Estêvão, and the game was done at that point. And honestly, you could say the game was done with Araujo getting that second yellow.
I mean, that just exemplifies Barca's situation right now, man. I don't think they're at Chelsea's level. I think they're a complete tier below, maybe 2 tiers below the way that we've seen them perform so far. I'm glad that Chelsea was able to take it to them. They are the deserved winners in this match, and it's a time to be concerned for Barcelona, although we have been highlighting these concerns. The high line, the defense just isn't there to hold back elite offenses. And it's still crazy to me that Rafinha still isn't starting these games, bro. He's still getting his conditioning back, I guess.
Yeah.
Still coming off the bench. I just feel like it's been a whole month of that. Lamine Yamal hasn't been the same Yamal that we saw last year. And Leva too. He's trying his best. Leva's actually doing really well, but you need all three to be firing at 100% the way we saw last year to go deep in this tournament. That's not happening for them. And so I just don't see how they can get big results against these big name teams like Chelsea, especially when you're missing Pedri as well.
There's a big concern when it comes to Yamal. All season against big teams, Yamal really quiets a lot. He's just not the same player that he was last year. And we kind of talked about maybe it's just him getting back to full conditioning. But I looked into it. Apparently, he has a weird groin injury that doctors actually have no idea how to fix. And it's very scary to actually like hear that.
Okay.
And it might be a case where Yamal might have to just live with this injury for a while. And I don't know if it ends up having big effects as to him playing at very high levels. In La Liga, it's no problem. We saw what he did against Athletic. It's no problem in La Liga. But against Chelsea, against the Arsenals, the PSGs, against those type of teams, against Madrid, against Atletico, I don't think we're going to see the same Lamine Yamal this year until that injury's completely gone.
I don't know, man. I don't know what to make of that. I only analyze football. I can't analyze a diagnosis. I'm not a doctor. I'm so curious to know what actually is going on and if this is a long-term thing or if this just ends up being a weird part of this season. Either way, Chelsea gets 3 massive points. They're not in 5th place, whereas Barca drops down to 15th place at the moment. We had a big result, brother. A big result that on paper shocked me, but once you watch the game, I think it actually made full, complete sense. Bayer Leverkusen gets a victory against Manchester City 2-0 away from home in a game where Leverkusen showed some great defensive solitude, some great finishing as well, be it against what was Manchester City's B team to start the game. But even when the starters came on, couldn't break this Leverkusen D.
Yeah, an absolute banger from Grimaldo to get the goal scoring off in that first half for Leverkusen. Just absolutely blasts it. But 10 changes for Manchester City. I don't know how to take this one. I'm actually very disappointed in City, though, for not taking the opportunity to just play your best 11 and kind of get back on track after a tough loss to Newcastle at the weekend. I'm very disappointed that Pep was just like, all right, let's just take care of business against a weaker Leverkusen, and completely backfired. So now you have a 2-game losing streak going into a very tough weekend in the Premier League. I don't like this decision from Pep at all.
I don't like it either, man, because I felt like such a statement was made when they beat Liverpool. I thought they would run with that form. What happened against Newcastle happened this weekend. They lost that game, deservingly so. Newcastle was the better team. You need a response, bro. And so I'm surprised. I do feel like from Pep's perspective, he's seeing the table, he's seeing the opponent, and you can't take a loss here. They can't take a loss. They're still in 6th place, an automatic qualification with 10 points. Granted, some teams have a game left to be played, but I would still bet that Manchester City qualifies automatically if they just get the results that I expect out of them the rest of the way. This could just be part of the new format where we do get some big matchups early on in the season, but then sometimes it's okay to lose a game here or there, and it doesn't really hurt you as much, especially when you're in a position like Manchester City was going into this game.
Absolutely. That's why I don't want to look too into this match from a tactical perspective. I just always like to see the big teams go all out week in, week out. I just get reminded of PSG and how they finished last season, where no matter who they played, they would go for 6 goals a game. And in that play-in against Brest, they scored like 12 goals on aggregate. That's the type of performances I want to see from dominant teams like Manchester City. But you're right. 8 group stage games, you can drop, honestly, like 3. You can drop up to 3 matches.
I think so. Game of the season, though, for Leverkusen, I would say. Even with all things considered, they showed out, and what I saw from them was not what I've seen from Leverkusen the past times that I've tuned into them. They're now in 13th place. I think the coaching replacement has been huge for them. This is a big result. I think they're going to be a team that's going to qualify into the playoff round of the UEFA Champions League. Good 3 points here away from home against a big name team, Manchester City. Leverkusen fans, celebrate because context, it's their B team, but it's still a game where I expected Manchester City to at least get a draw out of. 3 points for Leverkusen is super impressive. And kind of on that same note of being impressed and surprised, Marseille, bro. What they did against Newcastle United today at home, flipping the result after Harvey Barnes took the lead 1-0. It's an Aubameyang brace, brother. Aubameyang with a vintage performance, getting 2 very good goals in this game to flip the result. And that first one, I really feel like was the catalyst in this game that ultimately was caused by a rash decision from Nick Pope, who decides to rush out of his box completely. You can see the defender wave him off in the process, like, what the hell are you doing, man? Questioning the Pope. and it's a complete mistake. Aubameyang rounds him. It's still a difficult shot to hit. Curves it into the back of the net with that class that he has. And after that, all the momentum went Marseille's way. They get a second one, and they shut down this Newcastle United team who did win at the weekend. But, brother, I am quick to highlight, they do this, bro. They do this. Yeah. Newcastle can play very high and play very low as well. Marseille took advantage and get 3 big points at home.
And on that second goal, Timothy Weah dancing on the right-hand side to supply that assist to a very good run from Aubameyang. Marseille are impossible to predict in this Champions League. They're impossible. They played so well against Madrid, were unlucky with a referee decision. Then they would go on to lose really poorly against Sporting and Atalanta. Yeah. Very, very poor results. Their only win prior to this day against Newcastle was against the worst team in the league in Ajax. So Marseille have been so hot and cold in this edition of the Champions League. And even in this game, that first half did not look good. It honestly looked as if Newcastle were going to run away with this result. Newcastle were the better team in that first half, but those 2 quick flash goals from Marseille is the difference here. I think at this point, if Marseille's playing, you just can't predict it, and anything could happen. That's the fun part, and it's what you get with this French side.
They can play up to a good level. They can. I'm impressed with the result. Not super. I don't know. I can't put a dark horse label on them. I think they've shown limitations. They can play up to Real Madrid. They can play up to Newcastle United, but these are teams that are hot and cold as well. Exactly. I need to see them against like a top 6, 7 side in this tournament to see how they can really, truly perform. I don't know if I back them to win those games, but they are a good, solid playoff team at the end of the day. They really are. I think at the moment, they're in 19th place. They're going to be there in the playoffs, so I wouldn't want to face off against them because they do have an ability to punch high. I just agree. They're very hot and cold. They haven't drawn a single game. They've lost 3, won 2. Yeah. It's either one way or the other. But I think that's the way that you get the most out of this Marseille squad, honestly, because they have a lot of good talent. De Zerbi is a good coach. I just think their mentality is to either go all out or get absolutely shunned the way they did against teams like Sporting, for example. I'm frustrated with Newcastle, man. This has been the story the whole season.
Yeah,
the whole season. It has. Some good results, some really bad ones. Back and forth. It has to be so frustrating if you're a Newcastle United fan coming off of a victory against Manchester City, bro, just 2-3 days ago, and then you do this. Annoying from my perspective. We have Dortmund defeating Villareal 4-0. I say it was a long day for La Liga fans, bro. It only gets worse.
It only gets worse.
It only gets worse, bro.
Yes, sir.
Villareal got absolutely dominated, man. 4-0 goals from Gilloise, Adeyemi, and Svensson. This is complete domination from Dortmund.
Complete domination from Dortmund. What I like about today's match is with the La Liga team. So Chelsea, Barcelona, the 2 runners up in their respective leagues. Chelsea in second place, Barcelona in second place in La Liga. Clear difference between the 2 on the day.
Jesus.
And here, Dortmund in 4th place in Germany, Villarreal in 4th place in La Liga, and a clear difference. La Liga's a bubble, man.
God.
It's a bubble. But what you get with Dortmund, though, and this is why they should always be feared in Champions League, it's just all out offense, man. I don't know if I can trust Dortmund against Bayern Munich, for example, or against Arsenal, but against Villarreal, 100% you can trust them.
I've been hearing Dortmund fans, especially on X, be very frustrated with results recently. You just said it. They're 4th place in Bundesliga.
Yeah.
When typically this is a team that's challenging for 2nd and 3rd. They tied 3-3 against Stuttgart at the weekend. They tied against Hamburg a week ago, 1-1. They lost to Man City right before that. This is a good result. This is a good result, but I just think Villarreal is a very limited team, especially in the UEFA Champions League. I don't think they've even won this. Have they even won a game?
God, I don't think so, actually.
I don't think they have. Yeah, they haven't. This is ultimately expected, is what I'm saying, for Dortmund, but I want to see more consistency, not just in the Champions League, but in the league, because they're kind of like a Liverpool, man. In the league, they're not playing their best, but in the Champions League, they're a top 5 side.
Yeah.
Top 5 side.
But I'd say my biggest takeaway every time I see Villarreal play, Juan Foyth looks a lot like Austin Butler. That's my biggest takeaway.
Really?
Put it together, there's a weird similarity. Juan Foyth and Austin Butler, doppelgangers.
I'll put it up on the screen. Y'all let me know down below if Juan Foyth looks like Austin Butler, folks. Y'all let me know. Moving on. We had Juventus get challenged by Bodo Glimt, who's been such a feisty team all season long. American Weston McKennie makes it 2-2 at one point, but ultimately it's Kenan Yıldız's shot that gets saved by the goalkeeper and CONCACAF striker Jonathan David at the end of it to score and give Juventus a 3-2 victory. Juve win their first game in the UEFA Champions League. Yep.
Yeah.
First game, first victory away from home against a Bodo Glimt side that will feel hard done to not get a point out of this match.
We keep saying that when it comes to Bodo Glimt, man. It sucks. But that's what you get with Bodo Glimt. It's pure entertainment.
Yeah.
You know you're going to get goals. You know you're going to have an end-to-end match. And that's exactly what we saw here in Norway. My boys from the Arctic Circle putting on a show in that first half. They played brilliantly. They had the lead as well going into the halftime. And I honestly thought, I was like, okay, this is the game that Bodo Glimt finally turned the narrative of being very unlucky. But the thing is, the way Juve started that second half, I thought, oh, this is classic Bodo. They just can't play consistently for 90 minutes. Juve dominated the first 30 minutes of that second half. Thing is, Bodo made it really interesting. They get a penalty call that goes their way. They equalize 2-2. In the 90th minute, they almost score themselves. They get a huge opportunity in Juve's box. Ultimately, it gets blocked by Juve's defense, and then Juve go all the way. Yıldız gets the shot off. It gets blocked, and it's David who puts it home. And instead of Bodo Glimt going up 3-2, it's Juve on the road getting that third goal, giving them their first win of their Champions League campaign.
Yeah, it kills me. It kills me that Bodo only has 2 points this whole campaign.
It's harsh,
That's
man.
insane.
It sucks.
Having seen their games, they deserve way more. Granted, they haven't won, I understand, but they're completely out of the playoff region. It's going to be an uphill battle from here on out.
Yeah.
And I with 3 games left to be played, I don't know if they have enough to make it into the playoff region. Obviously, they got to win games. They're going to let me see what they're scheduled. They got to start winning games. They play Dortmund next, Atleti, and Manchester City.
Oh my God. They got to have the hardest last 3 matches.
God, dude.
I was looking at the table last year. You needed 11 points to get the unseeded play-in matches. So Bodo would have to win all 3 of those matches.
It's not going to be enough. Good for Juve. I've been critical of them lately, and for good reason, dude. They've dropped, 3 straight games drawn. This is a good win away from home. I hope it sparks them up a little bit going into the weekend where they face off against Cagliari. I just need to see more from Juve. I need to see more. I need to see it more often. I need to see more goals. I need to see more wins. Let's move on to Napoli defeating Qarabag 2-0 at home. Scott McTominay can't help himself. Just can't help himself. I recommend you guys go see his goal. It's like a tricycle kick. It's not necessarily a bicycle kick. It's a halfway attempt. But it works out. Yeah. It works out as he gives him the 1-0 lead, and then Jankovic own goal to make it 2-0. Qarabag looked like they kept it tight for a good amount of time, as they are still on top of Napoli in the standings, but Napoli winning at home and getting the result.
Yeah, this is Qarabag's level right here, Napoli. I don't think they can surmount a team of Napoli's quality, but they can keep it tight. They can play their football. It's just so interesting to see Qarabag play in this Champions League because they always have somewhat of a chance, but there is definitely a level that they can't surpass, and I think Napoli's that level.
Yeah, I agree. They're both very close in the standings. But good to see. Now Qarabag is still in 16th place though with this loss. That's really good. They're tied with Barcelona, bro. Like this is still a dream season for Qarabag, I think.
Absolutely.
Despite this result.
Absolutely. And I'll still be so curious to see who they can draw if they can stay in this playoff spot. Because if they get a fortunate draw, I'm telling you, we could see Qarabag in a round of 16. At that point, I think it'll just be pure drama no matter who they play.
We have dream seasons in the UCL. We have nightmare seasons as well. Ajax losing at home to Jose Mourinho's Benfica side. 2-0. 2-0. Ajax just cementing themselves as the worst team in the league, and Benfica trying to get back into the playoff region.
Yeah, going into this match day, Ajax Benfica were the 2 worst teams in the league with 0 points. So the only good news in this match was that somebody finally was going to get the points. And it ended up being Benfica on the road. Dahl with an absolute banger, catching it perfectly off the bounce early on into this match. Benfica definitely were the better team. Ajax had a lot of the ball. But just as we've seen this whole Champions League season, Ajax just don't have any difference makers on their team, man. The football's good, kind of, but they don't have any finishers. They don't really have any real dribble penetrators. Their defense obviously is insanely shaky. There's really no true positive attribute when it comes to this Ajax side, and they lose today at home against Benfica. Dude, in the stadium, even early on when it was still 0-0, the stadium was quiet, but it was packed. But it's a weird realization that the people know that this Ajax team is not it.
It's not it, dude, and it's definitely a low point for Ajax. One of the worst things I've seen from them in recent memory.
Yeah.
But I think going into this game, if I had to pick a side, it would be Benfica. I think they have a little bit more to offer offensively when you compare both sides. I'm glad they got the win. I don't know if I can see them sneaking into the playoffs, although this is how you start off a run to hopefully do that. Never doubt Jose Mourinho. We had Galatasaray host Union St. Gilloise. On paper, this matchup was really exciting because Galatasaray has been putting themselves up as a team to be watched in this tournament, especially as one of the best teams to come from outside of the top 5 European leagues. They've had a dream start to UCL so far. And St. Gilloise has tried to be the same thing too. They've gotten good results. They've also gotten some bad ones, but they play good football. They play good games. So I was excited to see this matchup, who ends up winning. I thought Galatasaray would be the one that comes out on top, but once again, we get another CONCACAF goal scorer. Promise David scores the lone goal in this match to give Union St. Gilloise the 1-0 victory. Huge 3 points here for the Belgian squad.
Yeah, and go check out this goal that Saint-Gilloise crafted. It's just cheeky play on the right-hand side, really nifty passing, and then a perfect assist to Promise David, who just one times it in. This game was really interesting. We saw Saint-Gilloise play that classic crafty football. They do actually remind me of Bodo Glimt in the sense that they have no fear when they go forward, and they've shown that in all of their Champions League matches. But also, like Bodo Glimt, Saint-Gilloise's defense is very leaky, and it's why they haven't won more games in this Champions League season. This is actually their first win since match day 1. Wow. But for Galatasaray, they had their chances. They could have at least gotten a draw in this game. There's a chance in the first half, Gabriel Sara from distance hitting the post, a little unlucky there. But there was a massive chance in the second half. I think it was Sanchez who had a chance off of a corner kick or some sort of delivery where the goal was wide open. It was a bobble. He ends up skying it over the crossbar. The chances were there for Galatasaray to definitely get the draw at home. But this is a deserved win from Saint-Gilloise. Outside of those 2 half chances from Galatasaray, they really couldn't generate anything else, and I think it just shows the true importance of Victor Osimhen.
Yeah.
I think if he's on the pitch today, Galatasaray definitely at least draw. They would have drawn.
Yeah, I think he's that important to their offensive success. I agree, but that doesn't take away from what Union St. Gilloise did. Basically a must-win game for them away from home, as there's only 3 games left now for them in the UCL campaign. They're in 22nd place, so they got to keep getting points to remain in this part of the league table. It's going to get tight, but who do they have to face off against next?
Yeah, they play Marseille at home.
Oh, okay.
So it'll be in Belgium. That'll actually be a banger.
Yeah.
I actually think they could get points there if Marseille end up being their cold versions of themselves. But then they play Bayern. That's going to be impossible. It's going to be impossible.
At home, too. Yeah, Bayern at home.
But then the last match against Atalanta, also tough, but also winnable. So it's there for Saint-Gilloise. They're just going to have to work real hard.
They're going to have to work hard. They're going to have to work really, really hard. I said that today was a bad day for La Liga fans. Well, I think this might even be the worst of it. Despite losing 3-0 to Chelsea, despite losing 4-0 to Dortmund, tying Slavia Prague. Slavia Prague getting a point out of Athletic Club is pretty insane when you look at it on paper, what these clubs are, what they mean. But when you look at the teams, it makes full sense. Exactly. Athletic Club having a rough season so far, both domestically and in UEFA Champions League. And Slavia Prague taking advantage of that as they get a point here. This is the 3rd draw of the tournament. At home, neither team able to score, but I just think it says more about Athletic Club that they weren't able to get even a goal in this game against a team that on paper should be weaker than them.
Absolutely. This has just been so bad for Athletic, not just in the Champions League, but also La Liga. You see it when they play. The football is good for Athletic, but it's just that offensive line. Nico Williams is unfortunately not having the same season that he's had in the past. But the rest of Atletic's attackers are not showing up. Goals are very scarce when it comes to this Athletic side. The chances are generated. There was a really big chance in the first half. Oyan Sunset, a 2v1. The ball's a little bit behind him. He can't really get the contact that he wants. There was chances at the beginning of the second half that Athletic generated. It was there, but the finishing just has not been there all season for them. It makes sense why they aren't able to get any goals in this match. Slavia Prague, I'd say, throughout this game, were able to kind of settle the match, get on the ball themselves. They, at best, had half chances as well. So this had stalemate written all over it. 0-0. It makes sense when you look at Slavia and Athletic.
Athletic needed to win this, though, man. They could have gotten into the playoff round. And I don't know, man. They could look back on this result as the reason for why they don't make it into the playoff rounds. I really do think so. I want to see who they face off against next because they're scheduled to face off against PSG. They're scheduled to face off against Atalanta and then Sporting CP.
Tough. Sporting's been actually good this Champions League.
Let's do daily awards. Why don't we do daily awards? Those are all the games. Let's just talk about the daily awards. Goal of the day, performance of the day, match of the day. Starting with goal of the day, I got to go with the Estêvão's goal, man. Estêvão's goal. The teenager scoring like that, the way he fiddled his way around Kubarsi, dusted him, bro. Crazy, crazy goal. That pop from Stamford Bridge, amazing to see. I'm going Estêvão.
No, I have to go Estêvão as well. I have nothing to add. Perfect description. It's just a banger, man. And the context against Barcelona in front of that home, beautiful crowd at Stamford Bridge. Honorable mention, though, to Aubameyang's first goal.
That's
a good one.
And that's why I'm going to give him performance of the day.
Let's do that.
Doing a brace like that, that's vintage Aubameyang in the class, but that's a crazy finish. That, like, with an open net, I understand, but it's crazy to curl it in the way he did. I'm going Aubameyang on that one.
No, 100%.
Match of the day. This one's an interesting one because you can go with blowouts, like Chelsea, Barcelona for what it means, or you can go with a tight one like Juventus, Bodo, Glimt. Which one are you going to go with?
I'm actually going to go Marseille, Newcastle. I just think the way Newcastle started that first half, I genuinely thought that they were going to take it to Marseille and get the 3 points on the road. You look at Marseille's record this campaign, it's just been so up and down, even in Ligue 1. But for them to flip it with two really good goals from Aubameyang early in the second half and then hold on in front of that raucous home crowd, I just thought it was a really, really tense match.
I agree. I'm down to give it to Marseille. That crowd was dope to see. Let's move on to Football Manager 26 decision of the match. What was the most important managerial decision made today?
I'm actually going to go with Maresca's choice to start Estêvão on that right-hand side, to not start either João Pedro or Liam Delap, basically making room for Estêvão to play, but still have the winger effect of Garnacho and Pedro Neto. It's a great move from Maresca, and it ended up working out brilliantly with Estêvão just lighting up that right-hand side.
Now, it's got me thinking that Ancelotti's got to do the same thing come World Cup time. I think Estêvão has to be a starter for the Brazilian national team. Amazing what we've seen from Estêvão so far. I hope his rise continues. Thank you to the great team at Football Manager 2026, powered by the Unity Engine. Experience the richest match days in series history with enhanced player movement and greater on-pitch detail, bringing new levels of depth and drama to every match. Football Manager 2026, available now across platforms. Till next time, guys. Peace.